And a 2032 first-rounder to the Nets for Cam Johnson, who had career best in points per game and field goal percentage last season. And then the Lakers, they got their center, DeAndre Ayton. He's on a 2-year deal. Ayton held opponents to 54% shooting at the rim last season. It ranked 11th out of the 221 qualified players there. And then elsewhere in LA, after trading Norm Powell, the Clippers, they signed Bradley Beal here to a 2-year deal. That's despite a significant drop in usage after leaving the Wizards. Beal still shot 41% from 3 in his 2 seasons with the Suns. Also leaving the Suns, of course, you know his name, Kevin Durant. He was traded to the Rockets for Jaylen Green, Dillon Brooks, and some picks here. KD, he turns 37 in September, but he scored 25 points a game while shooting 50% from the field and 40% from 3 in 3 straight seasons. The first player to do that in quite some time. So, Perk, I should have introduced you as a core of that championship team in 2008 as well, but all of those moves have gone down this summer. I'm introducing that to you now. But which one do you think brings your squad the closest to winning a championship?
Oh, by far it's the Houston Rockets. They're the only team, in my opinion, that's now looking eye to eye with the champs in far as the Oklahoma City Thunder. They had the pieces. They finished number 2 in the Western Conference last year. And what did they lack? They lacked the closer. Jaylen Green couldn't be that. Kevin Durant is that. Arguably, in my eyes, the greatest scorer to ever touch the damn basketball. And they're loaded, stacked with wings. Being able to keep their young guys, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, they could play inside out, loves to stretch the floor. They got a Kogi, and they just got great depth, and they got a hell of a coach. I'm looking at the Rockets right now as the second best team in the NBA, and they're inches behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think it's night and day for us what they've done this offseason for us everybody else.
Well, I'm happy that Perk went out there and made sure to consider the Oklahoma City Thunder because they have done a great job bringing their guys back. I know they're excited. They have an exciting group, but I'm looking to see the confidence that comes over them having a chip now. When you start talking about champions and returning to the floor after that, there's a little bit of a swagger and a little bit of a extra oomph that comes with it. And to see Chet, one of these guys that, you know, we saw flashes of it, but we didn't get to see the full thing because he's such a young guy. Like, these are the moments where we start to say, hey, we're about to see the same team about to reign for a little bit. If we're going to see one of those guys come out and do something, it's going to be this year, so I'm excited.
Man, y'all need to stop playing.
Here we go.
The Denver Nuggets. Come on, man. Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
Valanciunas.
Yeah.
Who could start for a lot of teams. Got Bruce back. And they took the champs, your champs, to 7 games. They're a problem. They're number 2.
Yeah, they're also in the Western Conference. All of these teams that you mentioned are out west. So I'm going to take a team in the Eastern Conference and say the New York Knicks because they didn't lose a star player to an Achilles injury, right? Everybody else in the East has injuries to deal with. And I like the addition of Mike Brown. I like Jordan Clarkson joining that team. I like Yabusele joining that team. Yeah. I know those aren't big, flashy moves, but in the Eastern Conference, all you got to be is steady and healthy this year. Right.
You really have to be healthy. But bench scoring was a huge issue for the New York Knicks last year. They seem to have addressed that. It's not sexy, but bringing the guys back for that. If you get on a mic, we will find you this summer, my friends. We mean that with love. Like Atlanta's newest big man, Kristaps Porzingis. This is in Latvian, so this has been translated from the Latvian outlet Sporta Studija. He said, I think expectations are high. It's a great situation for me to come in and contribute, maybe even better than Boston, where it was championship or bust. Iman, can KP make as big of a difference for the Hawks as he did for the Celtics with less pressure?
I think right now KP needs to make sure that he's healthy. I think that's all we expect from him. I do not expect KP to come in somewhere and to change a franchise or to bring something that we haven't seen. I think that he is great at keeping the train on the tracks and doing things when he's healthy, but that's what he needs to make sure that he is available and healthy.
I think both of us think that Atlanta could be very interesting in an open Eastern Conference this year. Drew Holiday, another Celtic that got shipped out of Boston here. Here was a 2-time champ on what his expectation is with Portland.
Honestly, it's to win. I feel like that's always been the ultimate. You've started playing basketball is to win. And whatever that may look like, obviously taking small wins is great, but winning is what we do is what we play this game for. So if it's getting to the playoffs, if it's winning the championship, I feel like winning is the purpose and the reason why I'm here.
Love kiddos at pressers here. Mark, what direction do you think the Blazers are going?
They're trying to get in the play-in. They feel like they could do that this season because they have a really nice mix of vets and young guys now. And two guys you're going to have to watch the most this season that they want to take a jump is Scoot Henderson and Shannon. And Scoot in particular, you got Chauncey there, you got Dame there, and you got Drew there. They're expecting them to take it to a new level, and Drew's actually excited to be in Portland.
There's a lot of mentorship there for Scoot as well. Speaking of guards, let's check in on another one who was dealt this summer, the newest and the oldest.
Here we go.
Season's Clipper, Chris Paul. He was seen getting shots up in Las Vegas, fresh off of giving a new age-focused nickname for his new squad in LA. Did y'all hear this?
He said they would call this a function.
Is this a uncle function?
It's like a function that the uncles, you expect to see the uncles at.
The uncles are pulling up to the function. Rosters are finalized. However, the Clippers' projected 11-man rotation will have an average age of 33.4 years on opening night. It's worth mentioning, you're wondering where that stacks up, the oldest team in NBA history weighted by playing time was the 2000-2001 Utah Jazz. That was at 32.6 years old. So those Jazz, they did win 53 games, but you remember they ran out of steam in the first round of the playoffs. Perk, with age comes experience, it comes wisdom. Aging like fine wine is a saying for a reason, but ultimately, is this going to help the Clippers to have this seasoning, let's call it, or hurt them this season when they're trying to compete in a crowded West?
6 years ago, I probably would be all in on the Clippers back when they had the term vets matter. Vets don't matter anymore because these young boys around the league, their opponents, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Houston Rockets, the Detroit Pistons, whoever. They don't give a damn. They don't respect the older guys, and they shouldn't. They're going to go at them. And again, my issue with the Clippers is not only just their health, but their age when it comes postseason time. And can the James Harden, can the Bradley Beal, can the Kawhi Leonard slide those puppies on the perimeter and get stops in an elite conference where you have so many dynamic players, Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, Zion, SGA, the list goes on. So it's going to hurt them, in my opinion, when it comes down when it matters the most. So I'm not in on the Clippers. Their age is just too old. Vets don't matter.
I don't know about saying best don't matter out loud, Perk, but I hear you a lot when you say that. I'm impressed with it when it's written down on paper. But like me and you know, Perk, when you talk about going into the playoffs and making a long stretch, making sure that you guys are in a position to win late in the season, can you get those guys to all be healthy, all be on one accord toward the end? I think that's been the problem with them in the last couple of years, wherever they're at with their respective teams. But I think to have them all together and to get too excited about it when we know what it's about and being healthy and everybody is take a little bit of luck. But now you're doing it with a guy that's 40. I can't get too excited. I'm always going to be happy to watch Chris Paul play basketball.
I will say this. I covered that Game 7 between the Clippers and the Nuggets, and where James Harden really just ran out of gas. And when you have all these older guys, they're going to make it so they don't have to play that many minutes. Like James Harden was an All-NBA player last year. He played so many minutes, and he ran out of gas in that game 7. He's not going to have to do that this year because he got Chris Paul on the team, he's got Bradley Beal on the team. I think they're old, but they're all in great shape, and they can lean on each other.
To be able to get into their rhythm, they need the ball. So it's like sharing the sugar. I understand as far as health goes, but my concern is rhythm. And seeing a guy like James Harden, he needs the ball to get cooking.
True.
That's the James that we all know and love.
Yeah.
We want him to have
He
the ball.
is the system.
Exactly. So it's like with certain things like that, Chris Paul, ball dominant. When you have guys like that, not having them be able to dominate the ball scares me when it talks about being their benefit.
Hey, Aaliyah said age ain't nothing but a number. I'm more worried about them being hurt than their age.
Right.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's an interesting strategy when you look at the fact that the team that just won a championship was the youngest since the Blazers in '77. And then some top summer vacation moments. Luka is the Dykeman. Hangs this one down.
Local dancing.
We're expecting him in Los Angeles in the next couple of days. Ja Morant with the crazy little self-lob here
Don't show the other one.
in China.
All right, what?
Ooh.
That's when you know you have when you run into the posts in the back.
And how about Klay Thompson? We have more highlights of him later,
man.
different types. But
Best summer ever.
72 straight threes here.
Goodness.
Woo-hoo. Shoot or shoot.
Clay, let me know when we going fishing on the boat.
Yeah.
Just a
He'll take you out.
Or let's
Oh, we
revisit
haven't been invited
ESPN.com's post-free agency power rankings, right? These are the teams we've seen some great moments this summer, but these are the teams that our experts say had the bottom 5 summers here. The Pelicans coming in at 26, the Hornets, the Nets, the Wizards, and the Utah Jazz. After New Orleans went 21-61 last season, ESPN Bet Sportsbook has the Pelicans win total at 30.5 this season. So we have 2 people on our panel who feel very strongly about one of these bottom 5 teams. One panelist, in fact, had a 27-minute solo monologue.
27 minutes?
Yeah, 27 minutes, no commercial breaks. That would be one, Mr. Kendrick Perkins. What direction, sir, are the Pelicans going? Bling.
They're trending upwards. I could see them mimicking what the Detroit Pistons did last season. A lot of people been critical of the Pelicans, whether it was because of the draft and they traded away next year's pick. But this roster is loaded with talent. Derek Queen, I know he's going to be coming back off an injury. Probably won't see him probably till mid-season, but he's going to be special. The kid fears that they drafted. He's elite. And again, they have elite wings on the perimeter that can play both ways. Derek Queen just might be the most skilled player to come out of this draft. Zion Williamson, we heard the stories about him this offseason. He cleaned house. I talked to his agent, the great Duffy, and he told me that Zion is on the right path, and he's on Zion heels like a pair of church socks to make sure that he goes in the right direction and do what he needs to do to be available and play high-level basketball. I'm all in with the Pelicans.
You know who else is on Zion Hills? Joe Dumars. It's not every day in Summer League that you see a GM sitting next to a star player during an entire game. And from what I'm hearing from Joe, he's been really, really impressed with Zion. When Zion plays, and I know people are going to say that when he plays, they win. They're a problem when he plays. Trey is a problem from outside. Irv is one of the best defenders in the league. DeJounte Murray, when he comes back, the Pelicans will be